Alrighty, welcome to the QRLS recap streams. I'm Drakpack, I'm joined by Zyrek, and we are going to be hosting throughout the course of the regular seasons and for the foreseeable future. First time these have come back in 6 seasons, so we are excited to recap all the action and have a little bit of a look forward into the next week. Zyrek, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, and it is wonderful to be one of the hosts for the weekly recap streams. All of these weekly recaps, we will go over the matches that have happened, as well as transaction history, players of the week, and our clips of the week. So they're pretty good to look forward to. I mean, hey, who knows? Maybe some people weren't able to catch some of the streams, so it's always nice to see what's going on within the QRLS community.
Exactly. I'm excited. You're excited. Let's get us started off. We're definitely not late, so let's get us started off with some of the transaction history. What sort of players have been moving around for week one?
So there's been a few players that have moved around. We had Fabrizi using the force drop from the Sappers. Kind of a shock to see, but they did end up picking up Eclipse Jade, and I believe it did work out as Eclipse Jade had a really good play, and I really wish that it was on the clips of the week, but we had so many good clips that unfortunately it didn't make the cut. But who knows? Maybe we can get some more going on next time. We had the Rangers dropping Taz and picking up Dr. George. Always a fan favorite seeing Dr. George being on a really good team. And then obviously I have to be the one to say it, right, Jack?
I
The Speed
mean,
Demons
who they
picking
pick
up
up?
your host, Zyrek, as well as On Fire, whilst dropping Masamune. So not a lot of transactions going on in week one, but we will definitely we won't I won't say we'll definitely, but we will probably see more within the following weeks as teams are looking to make some roster changes.
I mean, definitely. And it may not have been good, a lot of trades in quantity, but in quality, we had some pretty big ones. I mean, the biggest one, at least from my eyes, is gotta be Dr. George getting picked up by the Rangers. Rangers went in the preseason with neither Taz nor Dr. George, and in fact, Dr. George uh, was the first pick in the QRLS draft by the Cyclones, so he's been kind of having a little bit of adventure for him. But it's nice to see him on a team that's ready to compete, ready to compete for the championship, and came so close in the preseason and just kind of fell short to the Hammerhead. So definitely a big roster move in order to get them ready for what's coming up. And speaking of what's coming up, let's go over the matches of the regular season week 1, starting out with what our match of the week was. It was Mustangs versus Rangers. Zarek, talk us through what happened in this one.
I mean, this was definitely my pick for match of the week. All of the games were fairly close and it was triple overtime. So all three games ended up going into overtime. That is not something that I've seen here like often at all. But the games were the Mustangs beat the Rangers 2-1. First game was 0-1 with a 2-minute overtime. I mean, it's playing about half of another game. The Rangers beat the Mustangs in game number 2 with a fairly quick fashion. Less than a minute even went by in overtime. And then the Mustangs took game number 3 to take the series. And of course, like I said, it was in overtime. It was a 5-minute overtime. So we played an entire other match or another game, sorry. And that was phenomenal. I would give big props to the admins for picking this one out as match of the week.
Yeah, especially since we had a pretty good matchup between Bleacher Boys and or sorry, no, I'm thinking about the Arctic Assassins match. That one went to a couple of overtimes. It was a really close matchup, but then the uh, Rangers and Mustangs take over, take us to three overtimes, long overtimes. Is every type of match. You had a comeback, you had a kind of back and forth where one team was always chasing, and then you kind of had a more traditional, regular ebb and flow. So definitely nice to see, but let's break down the rest of the matches of the week and kind of what happened, what the results were, and how that may impact things moving forward.
Absolutely. For the first game of week one, we had the Hammerheads taking on the Bleacher Boys. Bleacher Boys ended up winning 2-1 in regulation. They didn't have any games go to overtime, which I'm a big fan of overtime because it means I get to watch more Rocket League and I get to cast more. I don't think I was casting that game, but I know for a fact that that was definitely a good game to cast for whoever the casters were. Like you mentioned, Arctic Assassins and Clarity United. Arctic Assassins weren't able to beat Clarity, so Clarity takes it 2-1, and they had a game three 4 minute overtime. What's with long overtimes in this league? We seem to have a lot of those.
Yeah, week one was crazy.
Yeah,
Carrying
I mean, yeah, week one was definitely overtime intensive for a lot of these teams.
carrying it forward though, Kings getting a sweep against the Speed Demons 3-0 in dominant fashion, but that was of course before they
Ah,
picked up Zyrex. So run that back, anything could have happened. Um,
you never know. You never
because
know.
as a result of that match was the Speed Demons making those roster changes, so they're more competitive. They're ready to go. Moving further along in the sweep series, Spectres sweep Astros. A little bit. That one was a little bit misleading. Spectres and Astros kept that close, but Spectres edged them out in all three games. In game three, it was a 3-1 win, and that was the largest lead, so or the largest deficit. Both game one and game two were only one goal games, so that was tight and that was tough for Astros and especially GN Flicks. But as the cookie crumbles, as things go, and finishing off our sweeps, Vibe Clan got swept by the Three Rocketeers, which that one was kind of unfortunate. So we'll see Vibe Clan looking to try to rebound later on this regular season.
Yeah, absolutely. And to top the rest of week one matches off, we've got the Sappers beating the Cyclones 2-1. There was a moment where it looked like they could win. The Cyclones had game number two. The score was 6-2. So I'm pretty sure I was watching that game. I did really expect to see the Cyclones come back in game number three, but they could not, and they lost game three, 3-2. Armada and Elite Inc., which is I think our last match of week one. Armada does end up beating Elite Inc. 2-1. I mean, again, games two, games three both went into overtime. But you know what? Enough about what I'm saying. Let's head on over to the power rankings.
Yeah, so as a result of the end of week one, we have a look at the power rankings. Mustangs climbing up to the top of the power rankings. Uh, Ge- Clarity United and Bleacher Boys following in close behind 2 and 3. Winning good games against good teams will make you climb high, and the power rankings committee loved the showing that Clarity United and Bleacher Boys put on. Bleacher Boys taking out the preseason tournament winners and Hammerheads, which they had a little bit of a slide down to 7. Armada holds their spot as 4. Preseason darlings, they made a run all the way to the semifinals, getting taken out only by the Hammerheads, which ended up winning. A great showing from them, and Mimsy has been overperforming expectations. 5 through 8 Spectres with the 3-0 sweep of Astros kept it close, but that's gonna get them to the fifth spot. Rangers is gonna slip a little bit because of that close matchup with the Mustangs, but I wouldn't worry if you were a Rangers fan. Hammerheads with the most surprising of slides, going all the way down to 7. Once again, these were the preseason champions, and kind of a shock upset to the Bleacher Boys results in the Power Rankings committee losing a little bit of faith from them and rounding out our top 8, the Arctic Assassins.
Leads us to our last bottom 8 teams, 9 through 12. We've got the Sappers taking that ninth spot. Three Rocketeers end up taking that 10th spot as well. The Kings do stay at 11th. I expected them to go a little bit higher. With the 3-0 sweep against Speed Demons, I did expect them to jump up a little bit, maybe even getting through to that top 8. But them staying at 11th doesn't do justice to them. Number
Yeah,
12, finish off the 9 through 12, we've got the Astros. And I mean, the Spectres, they with the 3-0 sweep on them, I did expect them to drop down a little. I again didn't expect them to be this low in the rankings.
I mean, yeah, it was a quick match. It was a close match, but Spectres not didn't perform particularly amazing in the preseason. So even losing a tight sweep like that, if it's against a not great team, or what's perceived to be not a great team, Spectres obviously are climbing and climbing quick. Um, it can tank you, but again, once again, these power rankings are not what's going to determine who makes it into the playoffs. So plenty of time to recover.
Yeah, absolutely. They do have a lot of time. Like I said, this is only the week 1 rankings. We still have the week 2 that we'll get up. So, the finish out the bottom 4 teams. We've got Elite Inc. dropping down to 13th, the Cyclones dropping down to 14th, Vibe Clan going up to 15th, and unfortunately, the Speed Demons dropping down to 16th. I'm sad to see it, but I understand why the rankings committee did that.
Yeah, that week 1 squad, it was I believe it was Skyripa, Masamune, and Dave.
Dave.
That squad couldn't crack 500 in terms of player rating, and it showed. That game against the Kings was not necessarily the most clean affairs. Kings still getting it done, but a little bit of it was a little bit closer than it maybe should have been, at least in terms of the eyes of the power ranking committee. But at the end of the day, Speed Demons made the roster change that they needed to. They're going to be back, and well, maybe not necessarily for week 2, but they'll be back. They'll perform.
We'll make
Uh,
the comeback, I swear.
Zyrek will promise the comeback, and if they don't come back, please feel free to direct all the blame to Zyrek.
No, okay, yeah,
All the
whoa,
blame.
whoa. No, no, let's not go that far. I would put all the blame on. Yeah, okay, you can put a good chunk of the blame on me. I'm very confident in our team right now.
Yeah, except your team. Yeah, that team looks pretty good in terms of what they're able to do, so long as you're not facing backwards in front of an open net.
Okay, that was one time. That was one
And
time.
until you hit it, I'll keep bringing it
Okay, yeah,
up.
I know you will. Alrighty, that does conclude our weekly power rankings for week number 1. Track, do you want to move on to players of the week, or do you want to move on to the clips of the week?
I mean, we just highlighted teams. Time to highlight the players for the sick division. Chowigo get the nod with 2 goals a game for total goals, 554 average points. He was pivotal in that week one win, and him and Chop Jr. is a duo that is very fun to watch.
Absolutely. I mean, if it wasn't Chiwigo, it was gonna be either Chop Jr. or Golden Pickle. Both of those played pivotal roles in their win against the Rangers. So congratulations to Chiwigo for getting Player of the Week in the Sick Division. Moving on, we have Reese in the Calculated Division. I mean, what can you say about that? 684 score per game. That is phenomenal. I really wish we had the saves up here because I can guarantee you the saves are going to be so much more than the goals per game.
Yeah, Rees finished week one with not only the top amount of assists, but the second highest number of saves, only beaten out by Kiptero, who in week one had a phenomenal 8 save performance. But Rees is what you say is a value player in terms of contributing everywhere else, and he was vital to the win, or not, sorry, not the wins. Clarity United edged out the Arctic Assassins, but he was vital in keeping his team in it. And if you take Reese out of that squad, like the Clarity United started getting more demos on in that game, the rest of the Arctic Assassins crumble. And that was very, very well apparent. But enough with the calculated. Time to go on to the Savage division. And if we talked about Clarity United a little bit, it's going to be Scanty, who is the player of the week for the Savage division.
Not only for the Savage division, but for Clarity United. I mean, ended up having almost 700 score per game with averaging about 1.5 goals per game. So you're pretty much scoring every single game almost twice and ended that with 5 goals, which definitely helped Clarity United take down the Arctic Assassins. I mean, Scanty definitely showing what leadership is like, and what better way to lead your team than to get Player of the Week.
Definitely, definitely. And that matchup with Scanty, Scraps, and now Longneck, that's a team that's going to be fun to watch. And also Kachow coming in as a fourth player. I love when Kachow plays. He's fun to watch, fun in the chat. But finally, and this is definitely not because Reserve just subbed with Prime for the 12th month, whole year of subscription. Thank you, Reserve Wolf. You're also happen to be the epic player of the week with an insane showing, and you were definitely one of the pillars behind the kind of upset win, 2-1 kind of. You picked up Eclipse Jade, and Eclipse Jade, 75 rated player, lowest player rating in QRLS, is definitely going up against the hill. But I said it in the stream, the Sappers would win because of reserve, and they did.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I will say, I definitely want a demo counter on this Player of the Week thing because I guarantee that counter's probably at like 10 already. Because Reserve Wolf, I think Drac knows if Drac was here last season. Last season, Reserve Wolf broke the demo record that was set in this league. I believe it was by, I want to say it's Fabrizi, but it could have been Alex. I can't remember quite right. And that has been Reserve Wolf's like entire play style. Correct. Okay, it was Toaster actually. And Reserve Wolf has just been focusing demos, and I can definitely tell you that's why That's a big reason why these Sappers beat the Cyclones is because a lot of the times it was a 2-on-3. There wasn't a third player there for the Cyclones.
Yeah, it is a dangerous game when you come up against Sappers Reserve Wolf. Not quite with 10, but 9 demos in week 1 is crazy. But what's even more crazier is L- Scanty and Longneck, both with 8, or both cracking the top 5. Longneck with 8 demos and Scanty with 6. And now they are on the same team, which that's going to be scary if anybody wants to play Clarity United moving forward. Again, they are very high up in the power rankings for a reason. That squad's going to be dangerous, but yeah, it'll be fun to watch.
Definitely, it'll be fun to watch, and I guarantee Reserve Wolf is gonna have a really fun time demo chasing. But we've talked about players of the week. We talked about transactions. We talked about what kind of matches went on. I think it's time, Jack.
Is it for clips of the
I
week?
I think it's time we move on to clips of the week. We have our top 5 clips. And this one personally was one of my favorite because it ended up going into edit. Tim, this will be the lights out faking the entire Astros defense. I mean, that is just phenomenal. What more can you say for that?
It was beautiful and put us on the map, so appreciate that. Lights out. But for number 4, Squiddied with a double touch. A little bit of a bump to set up, but then a beautiful double touch by Squiddied. Bar down to equalize for the Elite Inc.
Yeah, I mean
Beautiful.
that like you said, that is beautiful. Naxi with an amazing bump to send Pinky out of the play and allows Elite Inc. to tie up the game. Number 3, I actually have to check which one this is. This is the Naxi and Squiddy team play. Bit of team passing plays coming out. Naxi ends up passing it to Squiddy. Squiddy puts it back, and it is a beautiful shot from Naxi right past Dark Moon.
Classic give and go can exploit even the best of defenders. 2 against 1. If you use the 2, it's dangerous. But speaking of 2, Kawhi with a double touch off the crossbar and in as well, but starting from his own half, goes all the way and manages to get it in on some pretty decent defense. Couldn't quite get to it squiddied, but still beautiful nonetheless. And the final number 1 clip, it's Sniper. Take it away.
This was beautiful. This is exactly like the Zen shot that he hit. Like this is like the Zen shot that happened in RLCS. Sniper staying up in the play, gets it past, actually pinches it with scraps, ends up putting it directly into the net to take the lead. I mean, that was beautiful.
I,
I'd also like to point out 3 of these clips happened in the same match.
yeah, huge. If that Armada Elite Inc. Provided some highlights, but if you do want to get your highlights in, submit them down in the clips on stream in the Discord. I do believe. Yes, it is the clips on stream channel in the Discord in order to get your messages or to get your clips in to get considered for the top 5. See, Strife appreciates as many clips as possible. Our wonderful head of media. He likes to get as many clips in as possible. And if we have too many to choose, it might be a top 10 instead of top 5. But you know, hey, it was still beautiful nonetheless. Even though Sea Strife does not know how to spell my name. Apparently, I saw that. Don't worry.
That's okay. That's okay. Your name can be difficult to spell at sometimes, but with that being said, everybody, that is our weekly recap stream. This was the only one off where it isn't going to happen on a Monday. Every other time, it is going to be Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So always make sure to check it out. And if you're new here, make sure to join the Discord. That way you can be notified when we do weekly recaps, as well as potentially join the QRLS community.
Yeah, and not only are we going to be recapping the week prior, but we're going to give a little bit of teasers for the week ahead. So definitely stick around, check out these streams to kind of give us to understand what our takes are on the matchups going forward. Speaking of matchups going forward, we have the final two matches of week two taking place tonight starting at 8:30 with a doubleheader. The first matchup will be Rangers Sappers, and then after that, it'll be Hammerheads versus Three Rocketeers. So some pretty heavy hitting teams late in the week. Some great cute Rocket League to watch. I'm excited. Unfortunately, I won't be casting, but I'll be watching. So Zyrek,
I'll be there
you've got
casting for you, Drac.
some good matches ahead of you,
Absolutely. I'm very excited for both of these matchups today.
and you're gonna be going in with Punchy as well. Punchy, fantastic caster. Casted with him, he's wonderful, and whenever he has a chance to kind of pop in, it's always a delight.
Absolutely. I mean, with that being said, Drac, anything else to add for the weekly recap stream today?
None at all. It's been a pleasure, been a wonderful thing. I'm glad that I'm able to bring these back along with you. Uh, Wonderful casting with you side by side and getting at least once a week in with you. It's gonna be fun. But that does it for the recaps. Zyrek, sign us out.
Everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. This is your QRLS weekly recaps. And remember, everybody, keep it quick.